Okay, I continue now talking about type of groups, by type of, about the types, by the type of psychic energy, group of types. So I was talking in a previous video about 8 types, which are intuitive 8 types. It is Don Quixote, intuitive logical extrovert, and Huxley, intuitive ethical extrovert. Sensory types, it is Napoleon, sensory ethical extrovert, and sensory logical extrovert, Zhukov type. But I was not talking about exactly these types. I was talking in general about 8 types, how differentiate them from all other types, personality types. And I was talking about how these people are playful and may cross the borders. Yeah, they cross the borders with ideas. The way they implement them, they can combine something which should not be combined together because too different. Yeah, for example, doesn't make sense, but that makes sense for them, and they don't like to be limited. When somebody says, oh, you can't do this, no, they can do whatever they wish for, and they can cross the instinct, what I described as manipulating. It's okay when children are playing and manipulate objects and so on. They cannot really make so much harm. But when grown-up people start using the game for dangerous game, for something which should not humans do, yeah, for criminal activities, this is really bad. And what are the types which bring this human nature, yeah, limitation to all this behavior, which we can consider instinctual animal behavior? This is superego types. Why? Because for them is very important order, yeah, order, how to live in the society, how society can survive, yeah, not to go into the chaos. Society norms, conscience, rules, religion, yeah, all these society institutions like schools, educational institutions, they teach structure, values of societies, human values. And of course, these people, superego types, they are aware of the rules. They create the rules. They can create limitations, which 8 types don't like. And sometimes it goes absolutely out of hand. Yeah, so negative side of this sort of superego energy. We see it, for example, in dictatorship, for example, when people are punished, not allowed this, not allowed that, and so on. When rules is too many, there is no joy of life, isn't it? Yes, and of course, while these people, some of them might create rules for others, they might by themselves feeling that they don't have to realize these rules, to work in accordance with these rules. That also happens. Yeah, and negative byproduct of this energy can be also bureaucracy in a society, or the rules which limit people's rights, which do not work for people, but for some groups of people. Superego types like because they think about society and try to do everything right and everything good, what is expected from them. For them is very important approval and recognition. Of course, it is important for everyone, but being decent member of the society, we play different roles in the society. We want to contribute in the society, and of course, uh, approval, recognition, and um, respect of other people is very, very important. These people, they probably a little bit less think about themselves, less selfish maybe than we consider it types as children. And they can sacrifice themselves. They working too hard usually. And they can do any kind of job. I think the society is holding itself on the work of these people. And the best association, I would say, is the world of ants. How is the structure and the roles, what they play, and how they carry that overload of the weight, which is much bigger than themselves, and so on. Yes, so that the world of ant probably represents these values of superego side energy of these people. And of course, we find it also in the Bible, like Jesus Christ, for example. Yeah, he taught by example. These people, they are good and they teach norms, but other people might not listen to them. Yeah, that's also possible. If we consider it types, they're kind of childish. They don't really want to know. They want to enjoy life. They don't listen much to superego types. They might consider it boring at the end of the day. And superego types, why do they jump to these restrictions and punishments? That's because they don't have actually, they don't have means to make people to listen to them. And that's why in some religious states we see in Iran and so on, there is a punishment machines, punishment organizations. So it's always like in every energy we consider there is good and bad, which may happen to people. I remember, of course, I talked about it before in other videos. Paul the First, the Tsar of Russia, he was furious if people did not show him respect on the streets when he was walking along. People like men should take their hat and make the bow in front of him. And if people ignored him, they could go straight away to jail. So, yes. So we see that there is all good and bad in every energy, and the balance is the best. They all kind of balance each other, these energies. And superego types, they teach by example, by their own example, and they just hope that other people will follow them. Most of the time it is like that. But there are people who is true leaders, and they can lead by other means. They have got cleverness, logical reasoning. It is TE, business logic, extroverted logic, how things works, making goal, manipulating with objects in a way which is effective to achieving that goal. So these people rely on principle reality, what it works, how it works, and how to do the best. And they have extroverted ethics, FE. they can actually move by emotions. They know what emotions are, they can adequately express them, and with emotions they can move the crowds, creating drama. It's almost like a firework. Inspire people, acting, and so on. People love it. Yes, but at the same time, while people are have got this means of extroverted logic and extroverted ethic, what we need to remember that uh, they don't they the rational type, they are stiff, they make the goal, they go to the goal, they don't really good at adjusting the situation, at observing, perceiving what happens, and circumstances can change very quickly. And while irrational types can change the course quickly, rational types cannot do it. Ego types cannot do it. And they come sometimes to situation where they lose control, they lose power of leading people. That may happen. Another force come along, yeah, the war or something happen, and that's bring them into vegetative state. And I'm not talking about medical vegetative state. They just get confused, they just don't know what to do, they like almost like nothing. They need to think how to survive, but they cannot think about anything as such in such moments. That is like a firework happened and then, you know, nothing, like balloon popped up and so on. So they're not really that great at adjusting to critical situation. But what they're good at, yes, there are other types, Superid types, we will be talking about them later, who are very good at adjusting critical situation. But what they good, these leaders, ego types, they are good at actually moving the crowd, you know, at controlling the situation. If they notice what is wrong, what other people doing not the way they want to do it, because they have got the goal, they have got instructions how to do things, and if things go wrong, they are quick to correct it, to control it. And sometimes they do it without understanding of power, that other people have got more power. Sometimes they behave spontaneously because there is in them, inside of them, something which pushes them to express their ego, to do the way they want, not the way the circumstances are or the way the others want or don't want. If they feel the need to express what they think, to correct the situation, their ego calling them, and they start expressing their own thoughts, giving instructions, people what to do and how to do. And this can be in a very dramatic, scandalous way. Okay, and what happened? What happened that later on they might realize that they behaved stupidly, because ethic of emotions usually ignores ethic of relations, yeah. So they cross that border of relations, they damage relationship, yeah. And they are not good at understanding power distribution, yeah, which is SE. It is the types which have got SE as a strong function. They understand, and as in animal world, they would not go against someone who is stronger. But ego types can go because they feel the need to correct, to control, to express at that particular moment. So what may happen that ego types just get into trouble because they don't really think about power situation, distribution, and so on. about these circumstances. What other maybe negative things? Yes, ego types like to take responsibility. They are like captains of the ship. They want to lead the ship wherever they think they want to. Yes. Okay. Let's say now about the colors which associated with this group of types. It is red. Red is the color of the winner. If you want to win, you wear red. It is uplifting the mood. It's how to say it, putting the energy together, mobilizing for action, yeah, and also very attractive color. And orange color is more cheerful, but also extroverted, bright color. With these colors, it's easier to be noticed, and ego types, they like to be noticed, and they notice not in a way something unusual, something very unexpected combination of colors or dress is unusual. No, they usually wear in a classic way or in a very beautiful way, but nothing odd. If you see something odd, combination of colors or unusual outfit, that is most likely it types, childish expression of personality. And we're coming now to Superid types. Superid types and vegetative state when ego types lose control. So with Superid types, it not happen because they belong to the nature, observing nature. For example, the cat is sitting and observing every move of the tree, of the leaves, and so on. So because they are so observing, because they notice subtle changes in the environment, they prepare themselves like animal what reacts very quickly if something goes wrong. For example, cats react on a sound and so on, and they always, like an animal world, they think about survival. That's why intuition of time as well, and comfort, temperature change, and so on. It's NI and SI. They notice the changes and they know how to behave. So they use this vegetative state for actually self-preservation. In animal world, for example, when insect or mouse or animal play dead, yeah, frozen. Well, the aggressive animal might see it, oh, that's not danger or not dead already, and walk away, yeah. But then they get alive, and the mice right away run away, and insects, and so that's just like an instinctive way of survival. So these Superid types teach all other types how to survive in critical situations. Yeah, they know that survival skills. And what means do they have got to survive? Because we know that extroverted types, they are social, they will suffer if they don't talk to each other to express themselves. We had a COVID times when people were sitting at home. What helps them is the world of imagination, and I, yeah. And SI is cares about the comfort, to make the situation of loneliness, of surviving as comfortable as possible. Yeah, so that's The word imagination, I remember Anna Frank in Holland, which was in the war with Germans. When Germans were around, her family was hiding in the attic. It was a friend's home and they were hiding them. And Anna Frank survived because she lived in her imaginative world. And she wasn't bored as such, you know, she didn't really need desperately like to go out and socialize with other people. She was writing her diary, and she was living an imaginative world, and she support emotionally her relatives, you know, by telling how to survive, how to imagine things, to live in imaginative world. Yes, the colors which we associate with Superid types, they are black, the color of night, the color to hide yourself from the influences, negative influences of outer world. And all dark palette of colors, dark blue as well, associated with the bottom of the sea. It's all escaping, yeah, escaping from negative reality and surviving. Mm, but I think maybe it's is it anything that I might be forgot to say? Yes, I mean, when ego types fall in a vegetative state, it's really bad for them. But what happens if superid types, because this is dynamic types and they have got contrasting behavior? Yeah, like if you see, for example, ego type, the leader suddenly feeling absolutely powerless in vegetative state, that is like a huge contrast. But sometimes superid types also show absolutely different nature of themselves, doing something which nobody expects. Yeah. Mm, I don't know, for example, there was, I don't know, some criminal activity comes to my mind when the person was, for example, a pilot, and his life was bad and he wanted to commit suicide, and then he locked his uh, room and just drove into mountains and killed not only himself but also the whole plane of people. So they can do, or they can be very powerful and emotional in changing the circumstances. For example, if you push these people, the first thing, first superior types, they try to escape, they try not to be involved, they try to adjust as much as they can. But at some point they might turn around and make a statement and behave in a very powerful way which people do not expect, and you need to be aware of this possibility of superid types as well. Yes, I wanted also to mention, I remember now, which the animals which I associate with superid energy, it is water bears. Just recently I find out about them. Tiny ancient tiny ancient insects, which are less than 1 millimeter in size, manage to survive hot temperatures like up to 100 degrees of Celsius hot, and freezing temperatures. They curve themselves together like in a shell, and somehow even very heavy stuff can be put on them and they survive. So that's amazing. Basically, scientists study the survival abilities of that little insect, and they don't know yet how this is all progressing in them, how it's happening. Yes, so when I was talking about superego types, I forgot to say the colors which associated with superego types. So superid types, dark colors, black, dark blue, ego types, orange, red, id types, yellow and green. Irrational types, it is the types of nature mainly, yes. Rational types are emotional types. They have got a shade of red in them. Super ego types, it is light pink. It's all pastel colors, yeah, light pink and purple and white and clear. White and clear we associate with the truth. It's not an insight, it's more superego types about reasoning. So reasoning is the highest grace of understanding what is right and what is wrong, like to be crystal clear, to explain crystal clear your thoughts. And that's also why people say that the truth comes in the discussion when we reason with each other, yeah, and bring facts and so on. It is TI, introverted logic associated with white and clear, conscience to be clear. That's important for superego types. Pink is a romantic color, about love and relationship. Light purple also, it's very tender colors. Violet color, it's, if we consider it as dark, it kind of relates to superego, but it's also, if it is dark, it's similar to Superid, like a shade color. Another shade color is gray. Also, I associate it more with superego energy. Why? Because, well, it makes the colors a bit dirty, not that bright, and that's the reason why, one of the reasons why colors do not have contrast, because very bright contrast in colors like orange and blue, red and black, this create contrast, and contrast means dynamic in colors. And gray is kind of smoothing with the colors, make it dirty, make it more static if we add the gray color to other colors. Yes. That's about it. So introverted colors, introverted energy type, superego, superid, it is pastel or dark, and extroverted colors are bright, yellow and green E types, and orange and red ego types. But I always say that it's not that you shouldn't be absolutely direct, like yes, we say if the person likes black color, it's most likely Balzac, but not necessarily, or superid types. And it can be mixing. For example, extroverted types, they can mix between all extroverted colors, extroverted shade. Introverted types prefer more introverted, pastel or dark. But that depends. It's not just one criteria. We understand the types and analyze the types. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you will use this information for understanding and identifying the types by the groups of TPE.